Ooh, this one's good. Submarine is a distraction. The Simpsons scripted this years ago because they're owned by the Rothschilds. Oh. Oh my. This guy right here, he's an expert on Ukraine, and specifically a expert on Russian Ukrainian relations. And you can tell that because he's making TikToks about Russia and Ukraine. So I'm assuming he's an expert. And he wanted to give us a theory about how Putin wants to remove the diplomats from Washington so he can nuke the United States. Listen to this.
I'm not saying you should have been watching Naked and Afraid all these years, but you should have been watching Naked and Afraid all these years. True News Network here on TikTok, reporting from reliable sources that he backs up that there's a diplomatic plane that's left Moscow on the way to Washington, D.C. with the purpose of, more than likely, removing their diplomats from this country. That's a fucked move right there, because that means that shit's fixing to get started.
Fixing to get started. To the new age, new age, to the new age. Okay, I love so many things about these theories. I love everything about these theories. Okay, number one, backing track, perfect. Couldn't have picked anything better myself. Absolutely phenomenal. I have no complaints whatsoever about the backing track. The only complaint I have about the backing track is now if I put this on YouTube, we're gonna get copyright striked. Only complaint.
Judaism
Okay.
has donated $10. I can't stay long, so donation instead of view. Small July 4th get together with friends, then playing music, then a ROM hack Nuzlocke. Going to need
Dildo Burns and a Doug Trio to carry the fight. Did you name a Pokemon in your video game after me, Drew Daisium? Okay. Okay. But before I get an answer to that, and who knows what type of wacky answer I'm going to get to that. Radioactive, great music choice. Number one, because it's just so lovely and dramatic. And number two, because nuclear weapons are radioactive. Ha ha ha. Okay. That's the first thing. Second thing, I love his news source. You know, if I was trying to prove something, right? If I was trying to prove something to an audience online that might not be too familiar with me, or, you know, might not agree with everything that I believe, they just don't know who I am, and they have no reason to give me any credibility. I mean, if you're scrolling on TikTok all the time, you're gonna get a ton of crazy pop-ups, a ton of crazy videos. I don't scroll on TikTok. I just scroll on YouTube Shorts, because I stayed on YouTube because I didn't want to get into TikTok, but then TikTok was brought to YouTube in a way. At least the TikTok algorithm, the way TikTok works, was brought to YouTube, and now I've been sucked in no matter how much I tried to stay away from it. Anyway, sometimes I scroll on it and you'll get the most random of random videos from like 3 sub accounts that are just complete garbage, complete nonsense. You have no clue what it is, right? So if you're going to try to throw your video up on the feed to try to catch people's attention and you want to convince them of your claims, I would choose something like CNN, Fox News, maybe NPR, MSNBC. I mean, you don't even need to be that mainstream. Maybe The Intercept. You know, there's other outlets you could work with that are maybe smaller. But if you were going to convince them, pitching the True News Network. What's the True News Network? Can we look up the True News Network quick? The True News Network. Let's see it. The Real News Network. There's the Real News Network. I don't see the True News Network. If you look up the source and you can't even find it, it's not a great source, man. It's not a great source. No one's gonna believe you. Can you find no other source? Anyway, I feel like you might be using a nonsensical source because it's complete bullshit. So the plan is that the Russians are sending over a diplomatic plane to the United States to pick up the diplomats, bring them home before they nuke the United States. And somehow this guy on TikTok found out about it before the CIA, the NSA, the FBI, any big government 3-letter agency, the United States president, anyone in Congress, anyone. He found out about it from the True News Network, an unknown media outlet, and all they have to go based upon this, based upon everything, to know that a nuke is coming, is a reliable source, doesn't say the source, doesn't say who it is, a reliable source telling this unknown news outlet that a plane is coming over to pick up diplomats so the world can end. Okay, well, I think he made a good case. I'm personally convinced. I think the rest of you guys are convinced too. I feel a little stupid anytime I watch these types of TikToks, not because you would think, you know, by watching these TikToks, I'd feel better about myself. And a lot of people do this all the time. They'll watch like funniest home videos, or they'll watch like Jackass, or watch some type of medium to be like, oh, look at those fucking morons. I'm smart. I'm intelligence. I'm intelligence. I'm smart. I'm intelligent. I know I have my wits about me in comparison to this person. But when I watch this and I have to start saying on stream, like, oh, this is why this is wrong and this is wrong, I feel like a fool. I feel like the court jester just walked into the room and farted and I'm like counterpoint, you know? Even though that's not how he views himself. He doesn't view himself as a court jester. Obviously, some people can be tricked by this stuff, because this guy was tricked by this stuff, unless he's just maliciously spreading it around, which, I mean, is possible. But I feel like a fool for trying to make sense out of nonsense. You can't make sense out of nonsense. Anyway, let's watch a few more of these before we get into the, you know, the big scary news, okay? Let's do that. Let's watch a few more of these. I love these chuds, these TikToks. Ooh, this one's good. Submarine is a distraction. The Simpsons scripted this years ago because they're owned by the Rothschilds. Oh. Oh my. I'm interested in this. This sounds like a good theory. This feels like it has a lot of grounding to it. I'm sure this guy has an extensive list of MLA formatted sources for this stuff.
I'm tired of hearing all this talk about the submarine. Y'all have to understand, anytime the media is pushing a new story, there's a much greater agenda that's happening behind the scenes. Perhaps you haven't heard, but let me.
This is great. This is like the centerpiece of, I think, of like 50 to 60% of conspiracy thought or conspiracy theories. It's just that something's popular. I am an inherently untrusting person. I can't trust anyone. If anyone tells me anything, it has to be the opposite. Nobody can be telling me the truth. There's a deeper secret to everything. I just need to dig a little deeper and I'll find a hidden truth. The unknown is always the worst and most terrible manifestations of man-made horror. It is the most incomprehensible, impossible to understand horrors beyond our imagination, just below the surface of everything around us. Everything, the media, the institutions, our political sphere, you know, just everything from Disney cartoons all the way up to the banks. Everything is a conspiracy. Everything is out to get you. That type of stuff, I feel like, is damn near mental illness. And I feel like a lot of conspiracy theory drivel that we see online is just mental illness wrapped up in just political gibberish. Definitely when it's stuff like this, like anything that the media pushes, anything, there must be a deeper intention behind it through the Rothschilds, the lizard people, and whatever.
Let me tell you, the first thing that is happening is the FDA approves synthetic meat to be sold in all stores.
Of course. Well, now that makes sense. You know, submarine, synthetic meat being sold in stores. Yeah, it's right. It's right there. Everyone can see the clear line.
Now, you can thank Billy G for that, and you know exactly who I'm talking about. This just happened yesterday while y'all so distracted. The second thing that's happening is NASA is warning us that there's going to be an internet blackout for the next several months. But we're so distracted.
No, there isn't. I'm not even going to Google it. He's just lying. No, there isn't. No, there isn't. There's not going to be an internet blackout. No, there isn't. How would that even work? How would that work? How would there be an internet blackout? And also, if the government wants to cover up that there's an internet blackout, because the whole idea is that a submarine, this is the story of a submarine, you know, turning into like a soda can getting crushed at the bottom of the ocean, full of all these unfortunate souls who've been killed by man-made horrors beyond their own comprehension. Right, a lot of man-made horrors we're talking about recently. That isn't true. That isn't the case. The media isn't covering this because, wow, that's a horrific story, but it's, you know, very eye-catching and headline-grabbing. The real reason they're covering it is because they want to distract from NASA announcing that there's going to be an internet outage. Okay, number one, why would it be a distraction from the fact that there's an internet outage if the government announced there's going to be an internet outage? Like, if they wanted to hide up the fact that there was going to be an internet outage, why didn't NASA just not announce it? Why didn't NASA just keep their mouth shut? So NASA was like, oh, we need to hide the fact that we just discovered that there's going to be an internet outage. So this is what we do. Instead of just keeping our mouth shut, we're going to announce that there's an internet outage, and then we're going to fill a submarine with a bunch of rich people and shove it to the bottom of the ocean and get it crushed, or at least make the media concentrate on the story in order to avoid this fact when they could have just been quiet. Okay, so that's the first thing. Second thing, how do you cover up an internet outage? If there's going to be an internet outage, how do you cover that up? One day, everyone's just going to they're going to wake up, they're going to take out their phone, they're going to look, they'll be like, oh, there's zero internet. Okay, and they're just going to ignore that? Nobody's going to like ask any questions if there's no internet? Nobody's going to try to call the cable company, or nobody's going to like bang the side of their TV, be like, I think there's something wrong with the internet. How could you even cover that up? How do you cover that up? Anyway, continue.
Thirdly, there have been UFO sightings everywhere, and they have us distracted so we don't question what's going on in our skies. 4, children.
You know, as much as I want to mock that, right? As much as I want to mock that, Tucker Carlson 2 weeks ago did a segment railing the Biden administration for spending too much time sending aid to Ukraine and not enough time shooting down the aliens in our skies, as was revealed by crackpot former government employees, that we don't have enough of an anti-alien agenda. Well, he believes that in 2 ways, but specifically talking about the aliens from space in this case.
Have been missing daily, and there's absolutely no media coverage. 5, I guess everybody just forgot about Fed Now. This is The Simpsons. They have an actual episode where they're using a submarine to go see the actual Titanic. Now, they're not predicting anything. It's all scripted. We know that they are owned by the Rothschild family.
Searching for treasure with
Listen, pay attention.
My dream for each of you is
This is
that you
predicted
find the
programming.
happiness I feel today.
And my dream is to someday wear a real wetsuit instead of one that is just painted on.
Mr. Spot. There we go. These waters contain some of Mother Nature's most stunning creatures.
That's what you get for being luminous, jerks.
Homer, look! The treasure of Pisa Mahado.
Hey guys, we found the treasure. When I get to shore.
Okay, how long does it go on for? It's just them in submarines? Okay, can we skip? Jeez. Wait, was that supposed to be... That wasn't even the Titanic. That was a pirate ship. Where's the Titanic? I don't see there's no Titanic. They're just in submarines. I thought there was going to be a moment where he sails up to like the ship. He's like, wow, it's the Titanic. I really hate this ocean gate voyage. Oh my goodness, why are we at the bottom of the ocean? It'd be really bad if our submarine combusted. You know, I was expecting something closer to that. They don't go to the Titanic. And it doesn't mention anything related to it. I thought it was going to be one of those things where they say the name of the movie. Like out of nowhere, Homer would be like, oh, this is such an ocean gate voyage. Wouldn't really make much sense, or like some deviation. They didn't even go to the Titanic. He's just like, it's predictive programming. Why? Because a cartoon had a person get in a submarine years ago. Because I don't know, like 6 years ago, The Simpsons put one of their yellow little freaks into a submarine and into the ocean. That's predictive programming. This is a brilliant guy, man. This is a brilliant guy. I don't understand how we have a crisis and a shortage of teachers. There's many areas in the school where they don't have a big enough budget for teachers. Just allow this guy into public schools. Just allow this guy to teach. This guy would be a fantastic substitute. Put him in a history class. Give him a degree. Brilliant. Brilliant guy. Okay, what's this guy? What's happening when none of these conspiracy theories comes true within the time period that they predict? Let's see. Let's see. Well, I don't know. This guy might have a good case. Let's listen to what he has to say. Blackouts, bail-ins, Independence Day, fall of the cabal. Let's see.
This Ukraine war was supposed to attack Russia and remove Putin.
Trashomancer has donated $5. Dylan Burns TV. Come for the reporting but stay for the bad pronunciations.
Amen. Amen. Happy 4th of July to you, and thank you for the $5.
This Ukraine war was supposed to attack Russia and remove Putin altogether to stop all this crap. Instead, Russia just played defense and started their...
Wait, what? Wait, I'm sorry, what? This Ukraine war was supposed to attack Russia and remove Putin altogether to stop all this crap. Instead, Russia just played defense? Does he not remember which way the armies were marching? There wasn't like a march on Rostov from Kiev to Rostov. There wasn't a march on Belarus, on Minsk. It was a march on Kiev in the other way. In the other direction. I know, some people might confuse their lefts and rights. I don't know. Maybe it's just a little delirious.
Russia just played defense and started their own coup civil war to put another seal in the coffin for the Rothschilds.
What did the Rothschilds have to do with Wagner? What did Wagner do with the Rothschilds? What did they do together? Do they have some relationship? Does the Yevgeny Prigozhin and the Rothschilds know each other that well? Are they the militant arm of the Rothschilds family? Their little like protectorate, their fiefdom? What? Yeah, I think a lot of these conspiracy theory videos, it's just, and somebody said it in chat, word salad, Jade said it in chat, it's just as many pronouns and adjectives and scary words as possible you can shove in the same sentence to cause as much fear and desperation as possible in those viewing.
Oh, Giles, I'm losing my quadrillions. The CIA.
I'm so confused. Wait, how did the Wagner? Okay, how was the Wagner crew? Okay, I'm sorry. He explains nothing. He explains nothing. He talks as if everybody immediately knows all of the things he's implying and saying and what he's basing it off of. What relationship does Yevgeny Prigozhin have with the Rothschilds? What would motivate the Rothschilds to push Yevgeny Prigozhin to do this? What would motivate Prigozhin to do this outside of the otherwise known motives of him wanting more ammunition for Wagner, the new MOD contract negotiations that weren't going his way? Why would it be the Rothschilds to push them in this way? And is there any evidence for this? He just kind of says, the Rothschilds, just moves on. I don't know. It's just like the Jews are like an ominous, and that's what he means when he says the Rothschilds. Let's be for real. It's if it just feels like they're like an ominous force over every historical event that ever happened. Pearl Harbor, they were involved some way. Hurricane Katrina, oh, you know it. COVID, you know it. No matter what, there's a Rothschild or another word, Zionist, or someone in the background, controlling the environments. Does there have to be any evidence of it? No, there has to be zero. Actually, just needs to make a good narrative.
CIA sent almost $60 billion to Putin's right-hand man who supposedly was going to overthrow Russia in a civil war.
Hey, there's no evidence of this. Who provided this information to him that we sent them $60 million? How does he know it? How does this guy know it? But the Washington Post doesn't know it. But, the CNN doesn't know it. The rest of the public don't know it. Putin doesn't know it. But somehow he knows it. How does he know it, but nobody else knows it? The Big Orca, thank you for the tier 1 and being sub for 25 months. Appreciate it.
Well, that was a big mistake because Wagner marched towards the cameras in Moscow and headed straight for Ukraine to finish the war.
Did they? Where did they go? They didn't go back to Ukraine. As far as we know, Yevgeny Prigozhin fled to Belarus. Some Wagner people are going to go with him. We still don't know all the specifics. Others are going to say sign MOD contracts. But as far as I know, the majority of Wagner is not deployed near the front line right now. And there are actually reports from Russian people on the ground, from Russian soldiers on the ground on Telegram in Bakhmut, that they're actually suffering because of the lack of Wagner recruits, because now they're using other MODs, other private mercenary groups to try to fill the gaps. And it's just other people from the MOD, from the Russian Ministry of Defense, to fill the gaps. And it's just not going too well.
Thanks to the CIA, Putin made his investment of defense back, while he uses them to uproot the Khazarians once and for all.
The Khazarians, of course. Ah, yes.
You seen the
of course. You can't believe I hadn't saw that sooner.
Videos of Prigozhin and Putin? They are always closer than arm's length, which signals to me they trust each other. The CIA literally paid for the destruction of themselves and the cabal, which means the deep...
I don't even know what he's talking about anymore. Okay, so because Putin and Prigozhin have taken pictures together, close together, that means that they trust each other. Well, yes, Yevgeny Prigozhin was a street thug, then he was a hot dog salesman, then he was a caterer for Putin, then he became Putin's little warlord mercenary for Wagner. They did have trust, but just because they trusted each other at a time doesn't mean they necessarily trust each other now. They could have had a falling out. I think all of what we've seen right now is in part due to the falling out, in part with Putin, but also with the Russian Ministry of Defense. Other actors that Prigozhin has never been particularly friendly with, like Shoigu, Gerasimov, and others in the Russian Ministry of Defense. Also, if all it takes is a close picture of one person next to another to like prove that they are friendly and they're not going to, hurt each other and everything will be fine, they'll never, nothing will ever happen. Why does this picture exist? This picture is very famous. I don't know if you guys know about this picture, but this is a picture of Stalin with another high-ranking Soviet official. This was a picture we took beforehand before he was doing the great purges and getting rid of anybody that disapproved his regime or he thought was unloyal. And this was afterwards, where they literally edited him out of the picture to pretend he almost never existed, which is weird because I don't want to make too many comparisons to the Great Purge, because it's not on the same scale. Even if the purges going on in the Russian government still right now are very real. But when's the last time you heard Putin even mention the name Prigozhin? I'm just saying. Anyway, let's continue. Let's hear more about the cabal. Okay, maybe he just hasn't given me his best evidence yet.
State in the United States, which means the deep state in the United States has a mole that has been giving Putin the upper hand on the cabal's playbook. This is bad news for the Rothschilds, and they reacted by killing their own. J.P. Morgan's board director, James Crown, died in a car accident.
That was... I'm sorry, one second.
Car accident.
Okay, sorry. I needed this freeze frame. This is exactly what I was talking about earlier. For a lot of the more conspiracy-minded people, everything has to be connected. Oh, there was a coup in Russia. There was a mutiny in Russia over ammo shipments and ammo allotments and MOD contracts and a whole host of internal strife. No. You're not seeing the bigger picture. If you zoom out, you'll know that because Prigozhin did not kill Putin and overthrow him, the cabal organized a car crash for somebody on the J.P. Morgan board. Why? Number one, let's say everything around the cabal organizing the Prigozhin coup is true. It's not true, but let's say it's true. Why would their reaction be, let's kill this guy on the board? Are they the one who organized the Prigozhin coup? Even if the coup didn't succeed, it still made Putin look weaker. It still weakened the strength of his regime. Why would they kill them? How were they able to kill him with zero evidence showing up whatsoever? No evidence of bullets or fair play or like cut, brake lines. It's just crashed car. It can't be. Oh my gosh, one of the more fatal, things that could be fatal for human beings in the United States, something that kills tens of thousands of people every year, also claimed this person's life. It was fair. It has to be foul play. It has to be a conspiracy. It has to be something grander. It always has to be something else. It's just impossible to trust reality. It's impossible for people like this to trust reality. Or to trust, not even trust reality, to trust anything. To trust any institution, to trust any publication, to trust anything they hear.
And the deal with the central bank in Ukraine between BlackRock and JP Morgan seems to be dead in the water now. The Rothschilds will have a heck of a time profiting in Ukraine after that war. Too bad. So sad. Bye-bye. 2 weeks ago, General Flynn said, "We are in the storm. You can't see it because it's in the boardrooms. Every major corporation worldwide are working on a strategy this week to manage their assets, protect their investments, and get ready to either 1, default, or 2, push on through this catastrophe that lies ahead." It wouldn't surprise me if China turns in their $1 trillion in bonds Friday.
Friday has come and gone. They didn't do it. We're very lucky.
This 4th of July just might be a real Independence Day.
Hey, it is the 4th of July now. Happy 4th of July. Guess it didn't happen. Very sorry. The cabal's still in control. Very sorry. Bye-bye. What a weird freak. I'm sorry, man. I hate the sounds this guy makes.